As the U.S. was bombing Iranian nuclear sites in the bold overnight mission, a rescue mission from the tunnels of Gaza.
The operation was made possible thanks to the intelligence and special capabilities of the Shin Bet, along with the information collected since the beginning of the war by the Kidnapped Command, the Shin Bet Intelligence Division.
The IDF and Shin Bet say that they used precise intelligence to retrieve the bodies of 3 of the murdered hostages and to bring them home for a proper burial. Yonatan Samerano, Shai Levinson, and Ofra Kedar.
How can social worker for an organization that's claimed to promote good in this world do something so cruel and unhuman?
On October 7th, 21-year-old Yonatan Mordechai Samarano was murdered trying to escape the Nova Music Festival. His body was dragged into Gaza by an UNRWA worker. His family says Yonatan was a talented DJ, passionate about making music and bringing joy to others. He was also a budding businessman who dreamed of a career in event production. 19-year-old IDF Staff Sergeant Shai Levinson, a tank commander, was killed while fighting a Hamas terrorist at the perimeter of the Nova Party. Shai, from northern Israel, was an accomplished volleyball player on a team that celebrated its joint Arab and Jewish cooperation. His family describes him as quiet, ambitious, and driven. Shai gave up the opportunity to receive active athlete status and instead chose to enter IDF combat service. 72-year-old Ofra Kedar was a beloved member of the kibbutz Be'eri community for 60 years. She loved her daily morning walk and working for decades, milking cows in the kibbutz's dairy farm. The mother of 3 and grandmother of 7 was murdered alongside her husband, Sammy. Her body was dragged into Gaza. Ofra's daughter-in-law said, quote, "This is a feeling of closure. We need to process it. We are in pain, yet there's a sense of relief that we can lay Ofra to rest in the soil of Be'eri, the land she loved so much." The hostages' families continue to fight for the hostages to remain front and center, even as Israel faces off against Iran, as 30 dead hostages remain in Gaza, as well as 20 believed to still be alive.
On my birthday, how you fought, it gave me so much strength. I ask you now, with the war against Iran and all of us preoccupied with so many other things, do not forget hostages. Keep fighting so that everyone can return, just as you fought for me.
And freed hostage Naama Levy had her first birthday out of captivity, and she sent a message for the nation and the world as time is running out.
Continue to make their voices heard, and maybe they'll hear it and give them strength, just as you gave me strength. Please, even during this difficult time, we must not forget them. I wish all of us better days and that all hostages will come home as soon as possible.
No doubt an emotional day for the families of the hostages on every level with the news in the past 24 hours. And joining us now from Israel is Ronan and Orna Nutra, the parents of Omer Nutra, an American-Israeli soldier who was killed on October 7th and his body still being held in Gaza. Good evening to both of you, and thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Emily.
Hello. So you guys came here well before, not expecting what happened with Iran to occur while you were here in Israel. And now, since this all took place, and especially with the return of the 3 hostages today, how does it feel? Is it comforting? Does it give you hope? Explain.
I believe in the time that we've been here, we've seen the return of altogether maybe eight hostages. Every time something like that happens, it's on the one hand a consolation and brings closure to the families, but it also reopens all the wounds and all the trauma that the families have been going through since 625 days ago. This has been such a long war, Emily, and so many twists and turns and so many successes. And yet there are still 50 hostages in Gaza, and they all need to come back.
Do you, given the fact that, President Trump has, of course, you've met with the president and he is committed. He still talks about being committed. We heard from Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu earlier saying, that he also is still committed. So is the situation maybe creating an opening, A, for either recovering more bodies or B, Hamas throwing in the towel, given what's happening to Iran and letting them go?
Well, we definitely look at it as an opportunity now that Iran was really struck by the U.S., and we commend President Trump for taking that bold decision and sending U.S. military troops to Iran and basically helping Israel finish the job. We feel that now there is a strong opportunity for Israel to reach the moment where a deal should be cut with Hamas. It's not a good deal. It's a deal with the devil. Yet we have 20 or so live hostages that are craving to come home to their dear ones. And they really are in terrible conditions. I'm sure that it's not getting any better there. And of course, our son and other, right now, the number I think is down to 29 more deceased hostages must be brought back, as this is a huge open wound in our society. And we know that the IDF is doing everything to bring them back. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a political solution, and we need to bring them as such.